Hold on.
Yeah, do the intro, right?
Welcome to the Lazaro Hive. I'm Ryan Lazaro.
And I'm Matt Lazaro.
And what does this say? Drop 20 pounds of fat and build 10 pounds of muscle in 30 days.
That sounds legit.
Totally legit. Does that really say that?
Yeah.
So that's part of today's topic. We're going to talk about all the nonsense that goes on in the supplement industry. And,
A lot of BS.
quite a bit. I mean, you could, what were you saying about this?
Drop 20 pounds of fat.
No, what you said earlier.
What?
Getting rid of your BS.
Oh, throw that shit out.
That's not what I was talking about, but that's okay. Oh my goodness. So Ryan and I have been in the supplement industry specifically for quite some time. I think we just figured out I'll be about 18 years. He's 17 years.
Yeah, just about 17.
Maybe even 19 years. Sheesh.
Yeah. I mean, I was introduced into the industry. I mean, shoot. You guys had me start working out when I was 14, 15?
yeah,
I don't
pretty
know,
young.
something like that.
Ryan became a bench press and curl expert.
It was lifted or just let it rest on your chest.
Fun
So
fact.
I learned how to get
yeah.
strong fast.
Fun fact, Ryan has never bench pressed less than 135 since he was like 12.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
That's all we had to start you with. That's why. we could thank our oldest brother Mark for that. But anyways, so needless to say, we thought a great topic to cover would be a lot of the nonsense marketing and the BS that has occurred and still is occurring in the supplement industry.
Yeah, it's a lot of misguided information, manipulation, just taking advantage of people that don't or are not willing to do the research, and they waste a lot of money, not a lot of time.
Well, and it's not even necessarily that people need to do research, because research itself is something that I would argue 99% of the population can't do. Like
True.
actual
to get like
research, right?
true.
Most people don't know how to read an actual research paper.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to interpret the graphs.
Let
the
alone even
charts.
find it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like,
exactly.
oh, Wikipedia said this.
Yeah.
My friend said that.
I learned in college, and that was, that was a long time ago, but it was a necessity overall. But, even when, that's why I actually kind of laugh when people tell me, like, I've done my research. Like, really? No, you've looked at something and watched a YouTube clip that convinced you're biased.
Yeah. I know what I'm talking about.
I know what I'm
200
talking
pounds of solid muscle. Like, oh, well, let's
Yeah.
step onto the in-body then.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Oh man, no, but all in all, when we're talking about like even product claims and full disclosure, we have a supplement store. We sell supplements, but one of the reasons that we felt like it was important to create our own company was to do it in a way that was done right.
Yeah, just very transparent with companies that we've worked with for years in the past, and with owners that we trust and have a personal relationship with.
And they can prove through third-party testing that they're actually
Yes.
putting what they say is in the product, and that makes a tremendous impact on being able to provide your customer with what they actually need. I would argue that most of the time when you're buying like something online, or somebody is like, what's probably most common right now is like when they're doing these companies where people do direct sales, right?
Yeah.
And they say, hey, I took this. And
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm
Celebrities or public figures saying, hey, this did this for me in 30 days. If you try it, you'll lose or build X,
Yeah.
Y, Z. It's like, unfortunately, the reality is they probably have not utilized that supplement. They probably haven't been in shape for a long time, had a lot of experience in the industry, and get paid to make claims.
Yeah, then $400 or $500 later per month, and when you finally realize it's not actually helping,
Yeah.
you're moving on to the next. And one of the things that we like to teach our customers and our clientele is that how to become way more objective about what they're actually buying, right? And then to not fall into these emotional buys, where and essentially those emotional buys, they're reinforcing whatever you're biased towards. And we all have our own bias towards anything, and we've seen that across the board, not only with supplements and the fitness industry, but every facet of life. So the more you learn how to be objective and to trust better sources, because that's what it comes down to. It's not that you are able to do research. Like I mentioned, very few people have a background in science, so they can't actually do research, but they have to know how to vet sources more effectively, so they can tell the difference between BS and just someone trying to sell you something.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, if you came here to our store, you'll know that we'll tell you no a lot. Like, you do not need this, at least not yet.
Yeah.
We take a look at your diet first. We take a look at your in-body analysis to see how much protein, well, not necessarily protein, but how much muscle mass you have, what your body fat mass is, how your hydration is, and get to know your body before we even begin to recommend any supplements in general.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like we have people that come in and they've been spending their time on the internet or talking to their friends or watching something that's been posted on, some platform on social media where someone said, "This is what I'm doing and I'm excited about it. This is what I'm taking." And then next thing you know, they're asking us.
They're like, "Hey, I got a list. I just want to grab all these things."
Yeah. It's
okay,
like,
well,
pump the brakes.
Well, this you probably don't need for your style of training, or this is in here already.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you have questions on what you're utilizing or what to use, more than welcome to come visit us, and we'll evaluate what you have or what you can be using in the future, depending on your goal.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, that was, going back to why we felt the need to do this as our own thing, opposed to work for some corporation or franchise or anything like that, because the last thing we wanted to do is be beholden to any other company's biases, and not only that, but then what they want to promote to sell to make their profit margins and things like that.
What's going to make the best bang for the buck, or hey, this is going to be out of stock and be gone, so let's get rid of it as fast as possible.
We've had that experience where it's just being encouraged to couple certain products with other products just to make a larger margin, essentially. Not that the product they actually even did much, if anything.
Yeah.
Even encouraging us to sell it to people that didn't even need it. That was that's what we talk about in terms of like being ethical and whatnot with these.
Yeah.
So, one thing I was thinking about, and we were talking about this earlier, is maybe 10 to 15 years ago, that's when the industry was kind of like the Wild Wild West. Like, everything
all
was
the goodies.
for
better or worse.
For better and for worse. Yeah.
Some people had great experiences with them. Others
had horrible experiences.
Horrible experiences. Calling in like, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Oh man.
I'm having a panic attack.
Yeah. One thing I legitimately miss is actual real ephedrine.
Oh yeah.
I think
a lot of people did great with that.
Yeah, I think that got it was unjustly banned, really.
Yeah, I mean, people were
doing dumb. So
doing unreasonable things with it, dehydrating themselves along with it.
You remember that baseball player that died? So there was a baseball player that died during spring training in Arizona, mind you, which it's probably like 115 degrees.
Yeah.
In wearing a sweatsuit, right? Like what the wrestlers wear, right? And he was taking 100 to 150 milligrams. Okay, so a normal dosage would probably be around 25 milligrams for a normal person. He was quadrupling the dosages.
I mean, even without the ephedrine, you're asking for a heat stroke.
Exactly. Yeah. So what happened was this ball player died, unfortunately, and legislation started coming through where they wanted to ban the product because they were trying to say that was the causation of his death, disregarding everything else.
Yeah.
And And then there was other instances where younger people were getting a hold of it, and that's the problem. It's just like when you downplay the effects of something, it's doing a disservice, and when you overstate something, it's also doing a disservice. And
Yeah.
so, you know,
I mean, look at the pharmaceutical industry.
what's wrong with it?
Does your doctor ever tell you to, take supplements? Or
Some do.
some do, but the likelihood is
rare.
it's very rare.
Well, like one thing I would have hoped to have saw was an increase in recommending from a medical standpoint
Immunity support.
Yeah, but even just getting checked, like with all the prevailing data on vitamin D levels associated with all cause mortality, especially related to what's going on. It's like, I remember one of the larger studies that came out last year out of New York, and it was saying like 90% of them had vitamin D deficiencies.
This even something as simple as getting enough sunlight daily, getting outdoors. I mean, that's a huge thing, is just getting out of your comfort zone, and if you get a little bit of sunlight, even better.
Well, I mean, inherently, essentially most of us, humanity received the vast majority of the vitamin D through sunlight, and then some of the foods.
Yeah.
And one of the issues is the majority of the time that we spend is indoors. So, but we're here to tell you, it's like, if you're not getting the allotted amount of sunlight that you need daily, it's probably in your best interest to start supplementing some vitamin D, specifically D3, right?
Yes.
So, something like that is really inexpensive. Like, I don't know, what's a bottle go for? $10, maybe
$10,
less.
$15
$15, like 3
90,
months.
yeah.
90
capsules. Yeah.
And it's not very profitable, but it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And unlike,
I mean, we're here literally to improve people's lifestyles, to help them out. Obviously we run a business, but
yeah, we want to make money, but we want to do it in a way that keeps our customers.
we're not here to make
happy
a
and
quick buck and say, hey, here's $300 a product. I may never see you again.
Well, that's okay. So you brought up a good thing. That's what we refer to as fly-by-night companies in the supplement industry, and it's extreme. Anybody could practically come out with their own line.
I mean,
right?
there's a lot of you listeners out there.
You-
Eventually. We've got a few viewers.
Eventually,
But eventually,
yeah.
that have had that experience where like, hey, I've been using this product for 2-3 months and it disappeared. Like, where to go? They made their quick buck and
And then they're
made a
out.
run for it. Yeah.
And it's not even to say that you actually got what was supposed to be in there. But back about a decade ago, that was happening more or less with the designer steroids.
Yeah.
So a long time ago, what was really popularized at one point, while Barry Bonds, Mark McGuire, Canseco, they were taking Andro,
Yeah.
and then that stemmed off all from one company. Oh goodness, what company was that? They made the estrogen blocker too. They're from the Bay. I can't remember.
Yeah. It'll come to me.
Yeah, I could see the label in my head, but I don't remember the name.
You're going to project it.
I'm sending it to you. Read my mind, brother. No, but that set off an entire segment of the industry where they were making out with millions.
Oh, yeah.
And millions. And the crazy part was all these raw ingredients were coming in from China. They're not really being batch tested. They're not really none of it was quote unquote FDA approved.
No,
nothing
no,
is actually.
no.
Let's actually state there's no supplements that are FDA approved, and if it is, it probably doesn't do anything.
No.
And so, but FDA approval doesn't mean much in terms of the supplement industry.
No,
but
not at all.
what I'm getting at is there was a ton of unregulated stuff that was pouring in that was, I mean, it was pretty cool. I mean, some of the stuff worked, but back then our knowledge base wasn't what it is now. And so
Yeah.
we had no idea.
Like,
what
this
we
works
were-
great. Like, wow, you Went from
put on-
benching 225 to 345.
350, yeah.
Just
Oh.
in 3 weeks. Whoa.
Yeah, and it was crazy how well some of the stuff worked, and then you later figured out like, oh, it's
Like,
because
wow, what the hell was I selling?
it's actually hormones, and so then they passed another bill that got rid of all of that. And
I think also though, like there should have been more knowledge drawn to what we were told to sell. It was just like, hey, there's this. It does A, B, C. You take this afterwards, and
Yeah.
that's it.
that's it.
Like,
yeah.
oh, okay.
Nothing else really.
No, that was it.
People were getting gyno, liver failure, and all sorts of crazy stuff after. And yeah, we were unfortunately ignorant in that situation. But fortunately that whole part of the industry was regulated. And
Yep.
later after that, oh goodness, what came after that?
We have a lot of the, what was it, the 1,3-dimethylphaline
Oh yeah. Okay, that stuff was
amphetamines.
basically amphetamines, yeah. So if you remember a product called Jacked, they are the ones that set the tone with this using that 1,3-dimethyl, and it's essentially, what was it, DMAA or
Yeah.
whatever it stands for. That was basically like taking crack. And I will never forget the amount of energy and anxiety I had using it.
Like, oh, I feel so good.
And you remember they were like, we're the first to microdose. Remember, it was like a tiny scoop.
Oh,
because
yeah, just
prior to that, NO Explode was the runner.
actually BSN was super
BSN
popular
was really
back then.
solid, actually. They made some good products back in the day.
Yeah.
I think they're one of the sellouts amongst a bunch.
A lot of the bigger companies unfortunately sold out, and I mean,
Well-
you see them in the big box stores now.
Yeah.
But it's the marketing with the new era.
It is
That's
what it is.
kind of took over.
I mean, I would, if I had a company that grew to 50 mil worth and someone wanted to buy me out,
All right,
I
we'll
would
see you
have-
later.
I would have a hard time, being like, no, I need to stick to my my guns. But, anyways, I mean, but that was like, I remember that made a run for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was,
A lot of other companies started adopting the same ingredient, and
they were putting that shit in everything.
yeah, I
everything.
mean pre-workouts and weight loss type products.
I mean, essentially anything that
Yeah.
made you want to go, like
Yep.
Zoom. Yeah. And then you remember when they started selling the male enhancement products?
Oh yeah,
Those became extremely popular. And then a bunch of these companies were getting in trouble because they were putting actual tadalafil citrate, which essentially is Viagra, guys.
Yeah.
They were literally manufacturing Viagra and labeling it as something else. And that's why it works so damn well.
Yeah.
And so over the years we've seen and experienced a lot of interesting things. Ryan kept using those though. I don't know why.
just the pumps were good.
yeah, it's good for pumps.
Pumps and humps.
Oh man, I remember there was a product called the Clear. I mean, it was a drink. It was that clear drink. It came in like a little shot form.
I don't remember the clear, but I know there was the rise to the occasion.
Oh no! I'm talking about the energy one. It was like an energy shot, and it tasted like garbage, but it had all the geranium. Remember, they started using different derivatives of
Yeah,
that.
they start naming stuff differently.
Yeah. So the funny thing with chemistry is that you could get away with a lot by changing one little molecular structure of the molecule and sell it, and it's completely legal at that point. So we make it a point to not sell anything like that at all.
A lot of market manipulation, product manipulation in the past, but I believe now it's tremendously better, right?
It is, but
it
because it's
isn't.
harder to source the stuff.
Ingredients.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure the black market's doing fine. I mean, there was a ton of one thing I still get asked about a lot is SARMs.
I don't think there's enough research, honestly.
Well, okay, so if you're not sure what SARMs are, they're called a selective androgen receptor modulator, and essentially what that means is it works like it claims to have steroid-like effects without the side effects, which is technically not true.
Sounds fishy.
It is, because all of the SARMs that were in development, right? So you know me, I'm going to read through all the freaking papers, and I did, right? And there's a reason why none of them made it past phase 3 trials. And they won't say why, right? But they never made it past the phase 3 trials, because usually that's where they're testing safety.
Oh, they're like, oh, it works.
So the majority of these drugs are made to treat other issues. So one of the things that SARMs was they were thinking of using it for was to treat cachexia in cancer, which is muscle bone degradation and stuff like that. So people, when they go through chemo, you know, one of the things that cancer patients die of more or less more often than the actual disease is cachexia. And some of these, and they were showing, I remember reading through some of them, and it's crazy because the dosages that people are supposedly selling these SARMs at are like 30 times higher than the dosages that were administered in the actual
So they're
research.
over.
Oh, significantly.
Wow.
And so you have no idea what's going to happen to yourself. And then they would
You guys are
claim-
being a bunch of guinea pigs.
Exactly, which is insane. I mean, I tried a lot of stuff in the past, but like, you just
Sure
gotta,
you did.
The hell does that mean?
I'm just saying.
You want to
Things
go
I
there?
found under your bed.
You want to go there? We're going to let the world know, right? No, I'm playing. All right, so back on topic.
We'll get there eventually.
Okay, so nonetheless, what happens a lot in the industry is, you know, some new prevailing evidence that this wonderful product supposedly works, and then next thing you know, it's banned.
And I think they did ban it here, right?
It's been banned.
It's been banned, but
I believe it's
so-
a class.
A lot of people that are probably getting SARMs are not really getting actual SARMs per se, maybe.
Maybe
Possibly.
They're not. Let's put it this way: if it's being manufactured, it's not being manufactured in an actual compliant facility.
Oh,
So
you mean that
maybe-
storage facility?
Maybe someone's making it in their bathroom. I don't know.
Yeah.
pretty wild.
I mean, the reality of it is a lot of these, I won't even want to call them supplements, but
Products.
products are made at home.
Yeah, that part's crazy. So, like all the products that we sell, we can prove that they're manufactured in a what is considered an FDA compliant facility.
Yeah, and they're what they call GMP certified.
GMP certified in California, which is one of the highest certifications you can possibly use.
Yeah.
Because California is
The standards are-
stupid.
Crazy.
Yeah, so it's like GMP compliant, and and then they also are FDA compliant too.
Yes.
For the manufacturing process. Doesn't mean it's approved by the FDA, but it means that the facility is compliant,
Yeah, that's validated.
which is all that means. I mean, the FDA is not even there to regulate supplements anyways. It's food and drug,
Yes.
right? Supplements have self-regulating factors and third-party certifications and things like that.
I believe you were saying the supplement industry regulations are even more strict than the food.
Yeah, so technically, the food. Okay, this is crazy, but when you read a label when you buy something at the grocery store that's food, it only has to legally be 80% accurate on label claim.
Yeah.
So if it says it's 110 calories per serving, it's technically they're only liable to meet 80% of that.
Yeah. So
your
there's
calories,
a few bit of leeway.
few 20%. It's hella. What are you talking- Okay,
Yeah,
guys,
20% is a lot.
Yeah, 20% is huge.
I mean, I'd like to make that on my crypto profile today.
Shit, I wish.
But
I wish I had 20%
it all depends
returns
on the
every
day.
day. Yeah, that's a whole nother topic that we'll get to. And then in the supplement industry, they're so stringent, they require you to meet label claim 99%.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that every company does, but it is the standard.
So that's one thing that I really like about a lot of the companies that we carry is their standards of putting all the information on the product now, like all the micronutrients, the sodium,
That's called full disclosure.
how much sweetener is in it. They're finally getting away from the proprietary blends. It's like, hey, this has 50 different things in it.
Yeah.
Well, how much does it have of this? No idea.
No idea.
It goes
yeah.
from greatest to least, and that's as much as you know.
It'll be like 3 grams for one serving, and then there's like 30 ingredients. You have no freaking clue of how
So
much
I'll
you're
be
getting.
Like, I don't know what's working, and most of the time, if it's a unvalidated or not, who knows what type of product it is, but
Yeah.
if you're taking a pre-workout, and
Yep.
you might just be feeling a bunch of caffeine and pixie dust
Yeah.
of everything else.
Yeah, we do call it that. Like it's essentially like a pixie
Yeah,
dust.
it's like just enough to put on the label.
Yeah, and to put on the label, I think you don't even need to have. I'm trying to remember the actual percentages. I can't remember right now, but the thing that sucks about proprietary blends is if it's not meeting an efficacious dosage, then you're practically wasting your money.
Yes.
Right. And some raw ingredients are really expensive. And so that's how we can tell if a company's BSing, because if that product is is priced at extremely low points.
Yeah, they're like, hey, you're getting 5 grams of this for
Yeah.
this cost, and we know the average cost of that ingredient.
Yeah,
it's like,
even
well,
the raw, finding out the raw cost.
Yes.
and they're like, dude, you're not even
like,
meeting
that's
that.
not
requirement.
possible.
You're freaking lying.
What are you selling us?
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the issues that we run into in the industry is that is this product dosed correctly, and if it's not, it's like it's not even worth carrying.
No, not at all. I mean, this goes for also a lot of energy drinks in the market.
Oh God,
Like, oh, we have creatine in it, we have aminos in it. Like, is there enough?
well look at Bang, right?
Bang.
They call it super creatine on and they say they have aminos, right?
Yeah, they claim
Have
that they
something.
have.
Yeah.
They went from BCAAs to EAAs. I know they came out with another one that is supposed to have a decent amount, but
Yeah.
their current, the Bang itself.
You're basically just paying for 300 milligrams of caffeine and sweetener.
Yeah.
Which, hey, if that's what you want and you like it,
I mean, I'm guilty. I'll drink a little Bang here, a little Bang there.
yeah, you like a little bang.
Bang, bang.
But even more common products that get kind of downplayed, I would say, like CBD.
Oh, yeah. So a lot of these companies have quality ingredients.
Yep.
Proven things that do have benefits, but you will not receive them unless you are taking the proper efficacious dose.
And that's huge, especially with something like CBD that most people would respond to if they actually had the right amount.
Yes.
You know, it's like saying that you're going to take Tylenol. And
You're going to like take a quarter of it.
Not even.
Not even.
You know, like an average dosage of Tylenol is 250 milligrams. It would be like saying, hey, we're going to take 5 milligrams.
Yeah.
And expect it to help.
To do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how underdosed most CBD products are.
What do you think about like placebo effects and supplements?
I mean, it's real, right? Like that's why they use the placebo end of the in research. Like it's an actual, if it's a double-blind placebo, we have to see how the response is.
How can you see if it's double blind?
Stop. Don't. Okay, guys, if you don't know what a double-blind placebo is, it means
Like this.
that nobody actually knows who's actually getting the right drug or administration of what it is that they're actually giving. Don't listen to Ryan. He's messing with you.
Where's my glasses?
He does need his glasses. So in that instance, they do usually see an effect, right? There's some form of effect because psychologically
That mental empowerment.
there is. And so this is why I'm convinced that a lot of people get themselves sick, right? Or a lot of people convinced that they're, and this is by no means a claim. It's just an observation that some people will make themselves more depressed and think they need, more than just actually movement and things like that. Because the interesting thing that was recently released in terms of anxiety depression research is like the control group that didn't get administered any of the drugs still had an 82% increase in 82% decrease, in anxiety depression.
Oh,
That's
wow.
without drugs. So it's almost as effective. The combination of exercise and I can't remember what else it was is almost as effective as using an antidepressant for
So like mental strength. or mental. What would you call that?
Okay, so it's complicated because you don't want to say necessarily strength because that would imply that it's a measurable thing, right? I would say it's more associated with general mindset, right? Because if you can convince
Positive, healthy mindset.
yeah, or I would say practical. Because even then we're dealing with complicated things like emotions, right? And so we live in a society where
We make decisions on emotions.
yes, and we're so driven by our emotions to make these decisions that it messes with everything.
Yes.
And so people get used to people are unaware of how much that they're doing emotionally led, which is not bad, but if you don't have context, right, then you're only basing your decisions off that one thing rather than some of the logic and being objective and things like that. Because I think if you're only that way, that's still not the best.
Yeah.
So that's why when people come to us, we try to be that counterbalance, because most of the time when somebody is buying a product, it's emotionally driven because they want something to change.
Yes.
And they want to feel something change, and they want to see something change. So we have to be the opposing weight that gives them balance and clarity.
So that also probably plays in a role with a lot of your clients. Not necessarily they're addicted to food per se, but a lot of it's emotional. I mean, a lot of times I overhear you speaking to one of your clients, and it's definitely more like almost like a therapy session. I mean, yeah,
Definitely not therapy, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like you're walking them through
Yeah.
why they're dealing with what they're doing and how you're going to help them. The whole process. It's definitely more than just eat this.
Yeah. So think of it this way: when someone's hyper emotional, you have to guide them with less emotion. But then when someone's not vested emotionally enough, you have to give them a little bit of emotion to balance that with. It's a counterbalance, right? So everything that we do is based on some type of weird, our version of reality. Unfortunately, I say it like that because one of the more common things, I cite this study too much, but it's like the vast majority of people that think they're eating a certain amount of calories, they're typically overeating anywhere from 50 to 80%.
More.
Oh, yeah. And then
So if I'm eating 2,000, I'm probably pushing 4.
But this is why, like, it's very emotional, because you feel like you're putting a lot of effort in, and rightfully, a lot of people probably do consistently for a few days, and then something happens, and they think they're managing it well, and it's hard to manage those high emotional states without going down the rabbit hole, and then you end up trying to just restart, and I call it F-it syndrome. Try not to cuss that much, but you kind of know what that means. And it's just like you just kind of say, screw this, and next thing you know, you're just trying to restart on Monday, but that wears on you.
I think a majority of us, even myself, I run into that pretty consistently. It's like, hey, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is great. Oh, I forgot a few meals. You know what? We'll just go grab some food out to eat.
Yeah.
Go home. Oh, don't want to cook, so let's grab some pizza. And that's just a downhill effect, leading to 1 week to a month to even longer for
A couple of years go by, and you're
individuals.
wondering, how did I get here?
Yeah.
And then you come looking for supplements to fix it in a month.
Yeah.
That's that therein lies the issue. And
Yes.
so we're here to help you pump the brakes, guys. Ain't nothing that you can take that's going to make anything go away that took years to put on. And nothing that...
Just kidding.
I was like, where are you going with this, Ryan? You got that look in your face.
No.
Oh, man. But even in terms of, anything, it's in most cases, in terms of supplements and stuff, you have to you have to ask yourself, it's like, okay, what is this actually doing? How is it working? How much do I actually need to take?
Yes.
And if you don't know the answer, you got to ask somebody that you can trust.
And we'll go through a slew of questions with you, like,
Yeah.
hey, how is your sleep? How often do you eat? How many times a day or how many times a week do you work out? There's several different things we need to know to put us in the right position to recommend what's right for you.
Yeah, and here's the funny thing. So, like when we opened up the shop here, we're around a bunch of different types of people, more different than what we used to deal with, right? So, I don't know about you, but my observation is that the people here training in this method, they tend to actually train significantly harder than the vast majority, right?
Yeah, and I think
And then the rest of the people in normal gyms, I would say, they think that they're training significantly hard.
yeah.
And they're not even close to the stimulation that they're getting. And so there's just these two.
Sometimes they never experienced that form or have not a gauge to know what's intense.
But I'm talking about the extremes actually are important for us to understand in our recommendations. It's something as simple as a pre-workout, right? Because some people like those super high stim products.
Oh, yeah, they're like, I want to get jacked. I want to just feel like my heart rate's popping out of my chest. And
it's like, oh, just do CrossFit.
like,
you don't need a
you
pre-workout.
definitely need to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
That's one thing I've noticed with a lot of being in our facility is the clientele is definitely more focused on wanting to feel better and recover. Like what's the quickest way for me to recover to train again harder the next day, as opposed to I just want to get big.
Or I just want to lose all my weight.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's
a fine, happy balance between I want to keep off body fat, I want to build muscle, but also I want to recover. I want to be the most efficient possibly I could be. Not just I would just want to get jacked and have the biggest arms.
That's Ryan.
That's the path.
Well, yeah. So all together, guys, we hope we were able to shine some light on how the industry used to work, how it still works, what our goal is, and what we're providing. And we just welcome all questions. And
I mean, more than welcome to come visit us in store, call us, reach out to us on Instagram, Lazaro Nutrition.
Facebook too.
Yep, Facebook
Lazaro
as well.
Nutrition.
You can also like and subscribe on YouTube.
Your favorite platforms.
Yep.
YouTube,
Spotify, iTunes as well. We
Google Cast.
appreciate all the support.
Yep.
We are here to help you guys. We're open book.
Open book, exactly.
Yep.
Ryan will still not tell me the secret on how to get his arms that big. So just keeping that one hidden.
One day. Yeah. But thank you for tuning in to the Lazaro Hive. We'll see you soon.
Peace out.